So, Lexie Hull, obviously a player for the Indiana Fever, and she is a offensive liability, but is the best defensive player on this team by quite a long shot, especially on the perimeter, because obviously Aaliyah Boston's good on the inside. Before we get on things, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 22.5 thousand subscribers by the end of the day. We are right now 83 off. But anyway, we got to talk about Lexie Hull, because her inserting Lexie Hull, not even into the starting lineup, but inserting Lexie Hull into the ending lineup. I think bringing her in as a starter didn't really work, especially because apparently it was like a disciplinary issue. Why Lexie Hull was brought in for Alyssa Smith, or well, at least that's what Christy Sides has insinuated. Either way, bringing her in as a starter doesn't work. But if you look, having her in the ending lineup is what they need to do. And again, she is a real decent defender. She's not, as far as like quickness on defense, she's not really there. But she just doesn't, like, she draws 1 to 2 fouls a game on moving screens. She draws offensive fouls. She just sticks to you. She just sticks to you. And she has the length. She's a long wingspan. She's 6'1". So like when it comes to Lexie Hull, she's not going to give you much on offense. If not, like, she's going to be a negative offensive player, which is why, like, you can't rely on her to be a starter as the years go on. Because, like, look, she's averaging 3.4 points per game. And she's 6'1". She's got good length. And you can see in the last couple of games, she had 6 against the Liberty. She was good against Liberty. She had 5 against the Mystics in the loss. She had 4 and 2. For her career, she's like a 20% three-point shooter. So for her career, this is the best she has shot from 3, and she's shooting 28% for the season. She shot 21% last season. She played 20 minutes a game last year and shot 21% from 3. She shot 18% in her first year in the league. Did she not play as a rookie? She must not. Oh, sorry, 2022, pick number 6. And look, she was out of the rotation. And you know what? I'm not going to say it wasn't rightfully out of the rotation, because she is one of the worst offensive players on this team. But she is a disruptive defender, which nobody else in the team is. Again, do I think Celeste Taylor, if she was there, could have played the exact same role that Lexie Hull is right now? Maybe even better. Yeah. Yeah, I do. But they don't have any other options. They don't. Like, you have to end every game with Lexie Hull. You cannot end a game allowing someone to just, or allowing the other team's guards just to have it easy. I will say, like, Kat Copper cooked her, but like Kat Copper was cooking her while talking trash. So I wonder what the hell Lexie Hull said to her. She definitely said, I wouldn't be surprised she said something. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, look, you don't make the WNBA unless you're hyper competitive. She definitely said something to Kat Copper. And Kat Copper destroyed her. But Kat Copper's been giving everybody the business. It is what it is. Like, Kat Copper made it personal, wanted to go one-on-one, and you know what? Copper got the better of her. But she has done a really good job on a lot of defenders. If you look at coming back in that game yesterday, or even like yesterday, she was in that lineup at the end of the game. And I do think that lineup can finish a game with Katie Lou at the 4. I think your end of game lineup has to be, you got to have the big 3 on. The big 3 have got to be there. And then you choose two of them, Alyssa Smith, Katie Lou, and Lexie Hull. It has to be 2 of those 3. And depending on the game, it depends on who. And Alyssa Smith doesn't have to finish every game. Lexie Hull doesn't have to finish every game. Katie Lou doesn't have to finish every game. But it needs to be 2 of those 3. And that is your 6-man endgame rotation. Erica Wheeler should not be on the floor, but if she is, she should not be on the floor in the fourth quarter. You don't want to put Demiris Dantas anywhere near the floor. And I'm going to be honest, I'm putting this out there right now. She dropped the wrong player. She dropped the wrong player. As much as people were complaining about Christy Wallace, people complained about Christy Wallace being a starter. I'm telling you, Christy Wallace is a better bench player than Erica Wheeler. She just is. Like, Christy Wallace is actually not a terrible defender. And look, I don't want Christy Wallace to end a game, but if you're choosing between Christy Wallace and Erica Wheeler, I'd take Christy Wallace. And I actually think especially with Lexie Hull, like, Christy Wallace is their next best perimeter defender. She is. So I'm actually shocked to see Christy Wallace completely out of rotation. I don't think that was deserved. I think she deserves to be in the rotation. First of all, like, I don't think she deserves to be playing more than 7 or 8 minutes a game. But, like, I think it is very harsh taking her completely, and I mean completely, out of her team's rotation. But either way, that's what happened. That's what happened. And look, Lexie Hull offers more than Christy Wallace, because Lexie Hull actually will disrupt the defender or an offensive player. Christy Wallace just let them get what they wanted. Lexie Hull, she's got the length. And look, the team's figuring it out. And I want to say this, is I actually don't hate Christy Sides, like, rotations. Some of them are weird. Like, her taking players out when they're hot and leaving them in when they're cold is just weird. But, like, I think she's made a lot of big calls at the end of games. Like, Lexie Hull doesn't play much, leaves her on against the Liberty and they win. She brings Lexie Hull in against the Mystics to end the game and they ball out, and she balls out. Obviously, she really struggled against the Mercury, which I'm not entirely sure of. But again, she now trusts Lexie Hull. I will say, as far as, like, I thought her starting fives were weird. And her, like, some weird obsession with Erica Wheeler, I don't know. But I do think her rotations are the best part of her coaching, because they're not egregiously bad. They're not good, but they're not absolutely egregiously bad. And, like, look, Lexie Hull is the defender that this team needs right now. Next year, you cannot let Lexie Hull go in that expansion draft. You got to protect her. You've got to protect her. She's 2022. She's still on a rookie contract. You've got to protect her. You've got to just keep her in the team. You can't afford to start her next year. Don't get it twisted. She cannot be a starter next year. She's not good enough to be a starter. But she can be an important bench piece as you look to contend next year. Look, they're not going to win next year. But you want to look, as the Fever, you want to look to be in that top 5 teams next year. That's what your goal should be next year, is to be a top 5 team. This year, they're probably going to be 6th or 7th. And your goal should be next year to overtake one of the Storm or the Lynx. One of the Storm or the Lynx are there for the taking. Or maybe the Sun, if the Sun lose somebody in free agency. Like, one of those teams, you're not going to be better than the Liberty, you're not going to be better than the Aces. And there's probably going to be 2 of those teams that are going to be better than you, especially with the way it is, like the Storm, more than likely, especially if NECA stays, are probably going to be better than you. So they're the big 3 you're probably not going to catch. But Lexie Hull is such an important player if you want to make that step. The goal for the Fever should be 6 or 7 this year. If you can win a round in the playoffs, great. Great. Next year, 4 to 5, and you should be getting into that Final Four. You should be getting into that semi-final. And you could mess about and go and make the finals next year. Probably not, but that's where the trajectory of this team has to go. And Lexie Hull, her defense, her ability to just disrupt guards. She's not the best at guarding isolation guards, but what she does is, like, these spot-up shooters, she's just got, like, she did a good job in McBride, she's done a good job in these players, is that she just disrupts a shooter. It's hard to come off because of her length and get a comfortable shot off. Like, she really did a good job in Marina Mabry against the Sky. So now you're the type of player she's really good at defending. It would be great, though, if you still had a Celeste Taylor to put on the ISO scores. Either way, thank God Chrissy Side started playing her. The fans saying play Lexie Hull, and I didn't believe it. I was not a believer in Lexie Hull until the Liberty game, but Lexie Hull's been a huge, huge difference maker for the team.